Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com and Locked On Colts podcast. We're back with yet another film session with, again, your resident film nerd of the Indianapolis Colts. Today, we are talking about linebacker Joe Bachie. Joe Bachie has been the biggest surprise for the Indianapolis Colts this offseason, a late signing in free agency to a one-year near minimum style deal to come in here and solidify this linebacker room. He has grown from potential roster casualty to bottom of the roster guy to all the way up to being the starter with alongside Zaire Franklin in week 1 heading into this game against the Miami Dolphins. So today for this film session, I want to dive into everything that Joe Bachie has done this offseason, dive into some of his preseason performances, and talk about his ability in both the run game and the passing game and how he would likely play alongside a guy like Zaire Franklin in the early part of this season. I'm fairly excited about Joe Bachie, and I think this film will show exactly why I'm pretty excited about this veteran player and what he can do for this Colts defense. So lock in, enjoy the film, and get ready to talk about some Joe Bachie with me. All right, guys, we're going to kick off this Joe Bachie film session by talking about run defense and run fits. And, contrary to popular belief, there's not just one player that makes up a run defense, and it just takes everybody being involved in the run game to be an effective run defense. And the linebackers are obviously a huge part of this, but it really comes down to everyone in the front 7 to the back 4. Everyone has to be on the same page. There has to be trust. There has to be effort. There has to be energy. And there has to be just, again, that trust that your guy is going to fill his correct lane in run defense so you can fill your proper lane. There can't be any freelancing in general if you want to have effective run defense. And I think we're going to see through some of these clips that, there might have been a big run on the play, but Joe Bachie did a good job of performing assignment sound football on his end. It just came down to the typical preseason thing where someone freelanced and it allowed for a big run. But overall, I really liked what Joe Bachie did in run defense here in the preseason, and we're going to dive into a couple of these clips here. Not a ton of run stuffs overall for him in the preseason, but I really liked some of the things he did, and this was a good example here. So first, we're going to see, again, just the communication, working with the motion here from Joe Bachie and the rest of the defense. He's keeping his eyes on that player. He's communicating with the shifts and alignments here with the rest of the offense. And we're going to see him filling this B gap on the outside zone run. And one thing I really want to make note of with what Bachie does is when we're looking at how this run is developing, the Packers want to get 2 men on Grover Stewart. Obviously, you want to get 2 men on the one tech, and then we're going to have this guard punch and climb up to Bachie at the second level. And Bachie knows what he has here. He knows what this monster is right here. This is Grover Stewart. Grover Stewart, one of the best run-defending defensive tackles in football. So the big thing for Bachie when he's attacking this play is to get to his B gap and pinch that space as tight as possible to make that running back come back to, again, a player that's not going to be blocked by this center when he's already shading towards the play side. Like this play has no chance as long as Bachie can pinch this hole and make the running back come right into Grover Stewart. And look what Bachie does to make sure that he is limiting that space. He lays into that reaching guard, gets his shoulder out in front of him, keeps that outside contained so there's no way for that running back to bounce out, and he trusts that Grover Stewart and the backside linebacker are going to fill that gap on the interior, and that's exactly what happens. Grover Stewart's able to do Grover Stewart things, and Joe Bachie's able to come in there for an assisted tackle. But again, this just is my overall point with run defense, where a linebacker doesn't have to have 400 tackles in a season for him to be a good run defender. If we're looking at what Bachie does here, he's getting maybe a half tackle on this play, but his good assignment sound football is what helps Grover Stewart make this play, where he understands what gap he has to fit. He's going to come downhill, get to that gap, play some sound football again with that outside leverage, lean into that guard, pinch that space, make it so that running back has to either bounce outside where he's got Leatu Latu containing that outside edge. If he wants to bounce inside of Latu, that's where Bachie's waiting. And then ideally, he's going to try to break inside where Grover Stewart is just not going to get blocked one-on-one. And this is just really good across the board from the Colts defense, from everyone containing their gaps to fitting against the run really well. And Bachie here at linebacker does a great job of playing just within the system, doing what you want from your linebacker. and helping Grover Stewart make this play. So again, we're not talking about anything sexy here. It's run fits in a preseason game, but I really like what we see from 48 here, Joe Bachie, in terms of just getting to a spot, laying into, initiating that contact, making sure that he's not getting driven out of the hole here by this guard, making sure that he is holding that ground and even forcing the issue a little bit while keeping that outside contained, and that's what helps get this run stuff on the play. Now we get to this next one here, and again, I just want to highlight Joe Bachie's communication. He was handling a lot of the mic duties here in the preseason, so you can see on a lot of these clips when there's motion, when there is any kind of tells in the run game or the pass game, he is motioning to the guys behind him. He's motioning to Cam McGrone or whoever his linebacker mate is, and I really enjoyed watching him communicate throughout the preseason here. But we can see that when you're reading run fits as a linebacker, you're looking for tells in the offense. You're looking for which players, typically the guards are who you're reading, but you're going to be looking for which way is going to tell what is happening in the ground game or just in the game in front of you that can give away pass versus run, that can give away which direction a run is coming. And you can tell on this play immediately that when 77's pulling in space, Bachie's signaling to his other linebacker, Cam McGrone, you're the one filling. You're going to be coming downhill. You're filling hard, and I'm going to loop in behind you and clean up any kind of mess that gets through. So we're getting that communication between these two linebackers. You're getting a hard fit from Cam McGrone getting to the backfield, while Joe Bachie is strafing across on the back end. You're getting the corner coming in and fitting pretty hard. This is good run defense by the Colts. We're getting some good fits here. Good fit. Outside contain from Kwity Paye. Corners coming in to fit that gap there. I think that's the C gap. Yeah, we'll call it the C gap there. And then Bachie is getting over the top just in case anything breaks through. So good assignment, sound football from the Colts defense. And Kwity Paye gets that stuff in the middle. But I really wanted to highlight this with Joe Bachie here at the second level, where the Ravens are trying, again, we're going to get that 2-punch, and we're going to climb here from 68. The left tackle is going to try to get to that second level and get a body on Bachie to open up that run lane. And we're going to see with Bachie, look at his quick hands. Quick hands, get around him. Really, really good job of disengaging from that left tackle at the second level. Quick hands, again, nice and steady, staying upright, keeping his eyes up. And as that offensive tackle is lunging for him, get it right around him. That is some good football right there. And it would have been a nice little stuff if that would have squeaked by. But I just like looking at how linebackers like to get around offensive linemen, because you can obviously stack and shed, you can go under, you can go over, or you can win with your hands. And Joe Bachie shows cases on a couple of these films, or a couple of these clips here, how exactly he's able to get around offensive linemen in the run game. But I really like his hands here. Just quick hands, again, little under move to get around, and continues to hold that gap integrity where he's going to just hold that middle ground if the running back were to get through. Kwity Paye makes a great play here, but again, Bachie, I really wanted to highlight just, again, that little rip under to get past that left tackle. He's going to fill that gap if the running back got through. Really good stuff from the veteran linebacker there. Now, this one is the play that I really want to talk about, because this is the play where, look, I'm putting a positive clip out here for Joe Bachie on like a 25-yard running play. And this is what I'm going to talk about with freelancing here, because when we watch this play, Joe Bachie and Hunter Wohler breaks my heart still. These two players are awesome in their run fits against this outside run. I think it's an outside power run. Really, really great run fits from these two. But the defensive end, Darrell Nchami, on the practice squad right now, his freelancing kind of ruins what should have been a 1-yard gain at best on this play. So let's watch this play in full speed here. We're going to get Bachie crashing down, Wohler crashing down. These guys are fitting really well. It's actually an outside zone run with the fullback here, to correct myself. But Bachie does a great job of going under that block. He's going to disengage, go under. Honestly, could have got a little hands to the face call on the offensive lineman. So really good stuff there from Bachie. He's getting under. He's filling this gap. Hunter Wohler takes on that fullback really well, displaces the fullback, and keeps that outside leverage. This is awesome run defense from both of these two players. And as long as Darrell Nchami keeps that outside contain, this is a 1-yard gain at best. It should be a negative play for the Baltimore Ravens. But because we got the defensive end here in the preseason, a young guy trying to make a name for himself, trying to make a play, he tries to shed back inside against the tight end. The running back, Keaton Mitchell, is just too good for that. He bounces it back outside. gets up the field and creates a big gain on the play. But I really wanted to highlight both Bachie and Wohler here because this is exactly how you want to play this in run defense. Wohler coming down from his safety position is going to have a hard fit to the outside, keep that outside contained. Bachie is awesome on this play, from going under the block, getting just free of that player with minimal contact at all, and he is clean to make that play. Like, this is why the running back's having to bounce outside, because this is the intended hole. You're trying to create that space right here for the running back. Joe Bachie's fitting this run exceptionally well. It just comes down to the defensive end freelancing, and because of that freelancing, it's a big play for the opposing running back. But Joe Bachie, I thought, was really, really good on this play, and I really enjoy the way that he attacks the run game, especially out in space. And we're going to see it again here on this one, where Joe Bachie, he's kind of a risk taker when it comes to playing run defense, and it reminds me a lot of Anthony Walker, when Anthony Walker first started with the Colts, where he's an athletic, smaller guy, not like a super athlete, but like a pretty athletic, smaller guy who is not really like a thumper in the run game. So Bachie, just like Anthony Walker, likes to go under block, likes to go over blocks, likes to use his hands to get off of offensive linemen. And we're going to see here again on another outside run, he's going under the block. He's going under that block there, which is a little bit risky of an angle here because you run the risk of kind of underrunning the play and leaving that outside space. But what he does here is create a lot of disruption from going under. He's going to take on a couple blockers as a result, and he's just going to fight through the mesh point and get that tackle in the play. So again, just some good run defense here from Joe Bachie. Again, a little bit risky on this one. This is maybe his worst rep I've shown, but it's really not a bad rep by any means because he's creating that disruption. He's freeing up other players to come in here and get some potential hits on the running back. So you can't really fault him and be too upset about this. And then he's able to finish the play by just working hard and working through the contact. So the things I said at the beginning of this when it came to run defense for players is you want effort, trust, and just the ability to finish plays. And I think Joe Bachie has shown all three of those in these couple run clips. So I think overall, if you had any questions about Joe Bachie coming into the preseason, when it came to his run defense, I came away really impressed with his overall ability to defend the run, get after it, and just be sound in his ability to shed blockers and get to his gaps. So, just talking run defense here, I thought Joe Bachie was really, really good in this preseason. All right, guys, so we already talked about Joe Bachie versus the run game in the previous clips. Now let's dive into how he looked in pass coverage. And unfortunately, we don't have a ton of looks on how he overall performed in this area of his game in the preseason because teams just didn't throw the ball much against the Colts. If we look at this Baltimore Ravens game, the Ravens threw the ball like 15 times in total, and mostly in that first half when Bachie was on the field, they were running the ball. So we don't get a ton of looks here. And then against the Green Bay Packers, we got a few more rush attempts, but Bachie only really played about 2 series in that game. So not a lot on film from Bachie as a pass defender, but I did like a little bit of what we saw from him. So this first clip is obviously his highlight of the preseason, arguably the play that won him the starting job here in week 1. And he makes just an incredible interception against the Baltimore Ravens. I already broke down this entire play in full detail back in my Lou Anarumo video. I think it's like 2 or 3 videos ago. Definitely check that out if you want like the full detailed breakdown of this, but we're going to go through it again because I think it's just an awesome play. The Ravens are motioning into more of a stack concept here on the 3x2. We know this is 3x2 because this running back appears to be in scat protection because he's up here, and we're going to see this running back pull off into the flat like they expect. So 3x2, the Colts are box checking. Hunter Wohler is calling for the box check, and essentially in a box check, especially around the goal line, you're going to play 4 up, 3 back, and on this side with the play strength side, you're going to have these 4 defenders form a bit of a box here. So it's going to be 4 guys over 3, and you're just going to play by simple rules of Wohler gets first out, McGrone gets first in, and then when it gets to the back end, first in, first out from those guys as well. Really simple stuff, but stuff that really works in the red zone, especially against preseason quarterbacks. So you're going to see, again, everyone's doing their assignment here, and Joe Bachie as that backside linebacker is just reading the quarterback's eyes. We're reading the quarterback's eyes, staying in that front area of the zone, and just moving with where the quarterback wants to go with the ball. And he's trying to go to 18 here on the little option route over the middle. Cam McGrone does a great job of disrupting that route with contact, which causes Leary to come back down to this drag route. And Bachie sees that. Again, he's got eyes on the quarterback. He's got those zone eyes in the backfield. He's going to plant that leg and drive down on that drag route and just make an outstanding interception over the middle of the field to get the team off the field in the red zone. This is what you want to see from defenders. I used to do these film session like videos with my good friend Jonathan Hagler. He actually played college football there at Jacksonville State for a little bit and bounced around in the NFL for a minute. And Hag used to always say, just make a play. It's the most important thing a defender can do is just make a play, especially when you're in zone defense. And this is just the epitome of that. This is a guy going out there and making a play. Like, yes, he's benefiting from a late throw from a preseason quarterback, but even if this is a normal quarterback that's getting this ball out quick, he's going to come downhill, make a quick tackle, and then the Ravens are going to be forced to kick it. But then he takes advantage of the quarterback being late, makes a play on the ball, and gets that interception. So just some awesome stuff from Joe Bachie, and obviously his play of the preseason, and maybe the best play of the preseason for a Colts defender. Just fantastic stuff from him here. This next clip, though, we're going to get into some man coverage concepts. And look, we love man coverage on this channel. We're loving that Lou Anarumo is rolling out some man coverage. And we've got a lot of really cool stuff from what he's done from these looks this preseason. We've seen a lot of cover one robber, some cover one hole. We're going to have a lot of really cool stuff from Lou Anarumo just going into the season with how he's going to mix in man coverage, how he's going to mix in press coverage. It's going to be a lot different than Gus Bradley's, sit back, come up and tackle zone defense that we've seen in the past. And what we have here is we're going to have a little rat in the hole with our linebacker and Joe Bachie. Now, when you have a rat in the hole, essentially what the coverage responsibilities are for Bachie here are he's going to open up to the play side. So to where the tight end is here, where the 3x2 side, he's going to open up to that side. And his first goal here is to disrupt any kind of crossers that come his way. So any drag routes, any just deep crossers, any mesh concepts that come to him, they might have been thinking that mesh was coming. His goal is to get in the way of that, disrupt that at the mesh point, disrupt that at the point of attack, and provide help for this off coverage safety here on this tight end. So what we're going to see here from Joe Bachie is he's going to open up to that route and just make sure that route is not coming right in here. He's going to prevent any quick hitters from crossing Cam Bynum's face. This gives Cam Bynum a little bit extra help in terms of just facing two-way goes. So Bynum is not too concerned with that inside route. He can play a little bit more outside because he knows he has that help from Bachie over the middle. And even the deep safety, if this were to be like a deep crosser over the top, and he'll have time to get underneath that and make a play on that. So they're really trying to pinch the middle of the field. Bachie sees that this tight end is just getting vertical, so he's going to whip his eyes back into the backfield and get zone eyes. Now, this typically depends on what kind of quarterback you're playing, so I'm assuming with this quarterback, Malik Willis, who is a fantastic rushing threat, we're going to have Bachie in a little bit of a middle zone as well as a quarterback spy here. So if we were to see Willis get out of the pocket, I think Bachie would attack that and get downhill. But because Willis is still staying in the pocket, we're going to see him just kind of lump into this middle zone, and he's going to get eyes on that quarterback. Now, my only big complaint here with Bachie is I think he could have, again, made a more of a play and made a quicker move here with the quarterback's eyes. We're seeing that Willis has come off of that route to the tight end. You would like to see Bachie just kind of strafe a little bit with it, try to get into this throwing lane a little bit more. He's a bit late to react to it. And luckily, just the bad pass by Willis is what prevents this from being a completion. I think Bachie puts himself in a good spot to where if this is completed, he's going to make a tackle on the play. So I'm not going to hit him too hard for this. But I think he could have, reacted and anticipated a bit more. But overall, this is good rat coverage from Joe Bachie. Does a good job of, again, opening his hips to the play strength side, trying to see where this tight end is going to attack Cameron Bynum and providing that help over the middle and forcing the quarterback to get back to his running back. And honestly, the more at fault with this coverage is McGrone just allowing too much of a free release by that running back there, not staying on top of that. So no real issues with what Bachie's doing. I think, again, he could have been a little bit quicker to get to that route, but overall pretty good rat coverage from Joe Bachie on this play. In this final play, again, we're going to get some man coverage, but this is going to be just an all-out blitz from Lou Anarumo here in the red zone. And Joe Bachie is going to be man up on this running back. And this is a bit of a risky play from Bachie, but I kind of love where his head is at here. Now, what we're going to see here is he's actually operating pretty well within the system, because he is man up on this running back. But if this running back is going to stay in and pass protect, then Bachie's going to replace as a blitzer. So if 32 is going to take out this free rusher, like what it looks like is developing here, Bachie's going to loop in and replace to make sure that we're getting that pressure on the quarterback. Just ultimately what happens is the running back just does a quick hit and then releases, and we almost get just a disaster for the Colts, where Malik Willis is almost able to get this out to the running back in space, and the running back is able to get some extra yardage there. But Bachie does everything that he's supposed to do here, where, again, he's reading that this is going to be pass block. He's going to fill that blitzing lane and get down on the quarterback and make a hit on Willis and prevent Willis from getting that to the running back. I only say risky because, again, his guy wasn't actually blocking. He was just doing a quick chip and release, or at least that's what it looks like here. It might have just been a missed block, and then he reacted on the fly. But Bachie does a good job of, when you're in this situation, you can't go, oh, shoot, I got to get out there and cover my guy. You just have to commit to the bit at this point. You got to commit to it, fly in at that quarterback, make a play, and force the mistake. And that's what he does here. He just continues with his fit against the blitz here, gets downhill, hits the quarterback, and again, prevents that open catch there in space. So again, no real complaints there from Joe Bachie. Again, it's kind of a risky play, but it's because of just how weird the play ended up being. He does everything that you're supposed to do in terms of fitting against the blitz when his guy is staying in the block, and he nearly comes away with a sack here in this preseason game. So that's all I have for pass coverage snaps of Joe Bachie in this preseason. I wish I had more, because these teams, I wish they would have thrown a little bit more against the Colts. But overall, I think I'm pretty intrigued by Bachie. I think he can at least give the Colts, again, like what I said, like an Anthony Walker level impact from early in Walker's career, where he's just a steady, smart, sound player that operates well within the system. So, from these couple clips I've shown you guys, I've shown you 7 clips. This is like the most I've put in a video so far. It's probably my longest video to date. I'm pretty optimistic about Joe Bachie going into this season. I think he moves well. I think he's a smart player. I think he understands the system and he trusts the guys around him. I think he's going to be a good starter for the Colts, and I'm excited to see him in Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, starting alongside Zaire Franklin. I think he's going to be a plus player when a lot of people really aren't thinking that right now. I think he's going to help this Colts team immediately and be a pretty decent player for them.